Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi everyone, we are from Group 2. Today we would like to present about environment analysis. But before we are going to explain about our materials, let me introduce my members. First, I am Lailatus Sa'diyah and my friend Diana Manzil. So, in this presentation, we divide our materials into 6 parts. First is environment analysis. Second is an example of environment analysis. Third is environment constraints. Fourth is understanding the constraints. Fifth is the constraints of time. And the last is steps in environment analysis. So, for the first part is environment analysis. The aim of this part of the curriculum design process is to find the situational factor that will strongly affect the course. Environment analysis, according to Tasmer 1990, involves looking at the factors that will have a strong effect on decisions about the goals of the course, what to include in the course, and how to teach and assess it. These factors can be raised from learners, the teaching and learning situation. And here you can see the cycle. It is about the factors in environment analysis. So if we analyze the environment, we will also analyze the learners, the teachers, and the situations. So these are 3 factors that we are going to analyze when we are talking about environment analysis. And environment analysis is also called situation analysis or constraints analysis. A constraint can be positive in curriculum design. For example, a constraint could be that the teachers are all very highly trained and are able and willing to make their own class activities. This will have a major effect on curriculum design as much of the format and presentation work could be left to the teachers. And environment analysis is an important part of curriculum design because at its most basic level, it ensures that the course will be usable. For example, if the level of training of the teachers is very low and is not taken into account, it might happen that the teachers are unable to handle the activities in the course. There are many factors that could affect curriculum design. So as part of the procedure of environment analysis, the curriculum designer should decide which factors are the most important. The importance of a factor depends on, first, whether the course will still be useful if the factor is not taken into account, and the second, how large and pervasive the effect of the factor is on the course. And the second part is about an example of environment analysis. The example of environment analysis is about environment analysis on a course for young Japanese learners aged 6 to 9 years old who had lived in English-speaking countries while their parents were posted there. During their time overseas, they learned quite a lot of English in much the same way as native-speaking learners do. On their return to Japan, once a week, for 1.5 hours, they attended a special class to help maintain their English. They all could speak Japanese and were attending Japanese medium schools in Japan. And from that case, there are a lot of important constraints on the special second language maintenance class. First, there were very limited class time and contact time with English, and there would be a drop in the learners' interest in learning English as they identified more strongly with Japan and being Japanese. And the third, the learners knew that they could communicate more easily with each other in Japanese than in English, and those constraints could have the following effects on curriculum design, such as parents should be guided in giving their children some extra contact with English because there was very limited class time and contact time with English. And the activities should be fun that the children look forward to doing them, and some of the activities should carry over the next class so that the children look forward to continuing them. It is because there would be a drop in the learner's interest in learning English. And the third part is about environment constraints. So we can take a look at the table below. It is about environment constraints and effects, and as what we have learned before, the constraints can come from the learners. So here, the example of the constraints is how old are they? It is like, are the learners interested in all kinds of topics? If yes, the effects will be, we take account of learners' interest, or can the teachers do all kinds of learning activities? If yes, we use appropriate activities. And the second example is, what do they know? It is like, do they share a first language? If yes, we use teacher-centered activities. And the other, can their first language be used to help learning? If yes, use some translation. It is, for example, if we have students who has background is Indonesian, we can use English or Bahasa in teaching them. And the last is, what previous learning have they done? If we know or understand our students' English certain level, we can use reading input. And the next is also about learners. It is, do they need English for a special purpose? It is like, will they use English for a wide range of purposes? If yes, we set general purposes goals. And the next is, do they expect to learn certain things from the course? And do they have expectation about what the course will be like? If yes, allow learners to negotiate the nature of the course. For example, we discuss the course with the learners, and we ask a question what they expect, and we like and then we take a consideration the learner's opinion. And the next is, the constraints come from the teacher. The example is, are they trained? It like, can they prepare some of their own material? If yes, provide ready-made activities. And the other, can they handle group work, individuals learning, and etc.? If yes, they will use work group activities. And the other example is, are they confident in their use of English? Like, can they provide good models? If yes, they will provide taped materials. And can they produce their own spoken or written material? The effect will provide a complete set of course material. And the last example is, do they have time for preparation and marking? For example, can the course include homework? If yes, they will provide homework activities. And the last is, the constraints come from the situation. The example, is there a suitable classroom? Like, can the arrangement of the text be changed to group work? If no, they will use group work activity. If yes, they will use group work activities. And the second example is there enough time? Like, can the learners reach the goals in the available time? The effect will be set stage goals. And the next example is, are there enough resources? Like, can material be photocopied? The effect will provide individualized materials. And the last is it worth developing the course? Like, do learners meet English outside class? The effect will be provide contact with a large amount of English in class. And will the course will be run several times? And the effect will be put time into preparing the course. So for the third and the next part will be presented by Liza Diana Manzil.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Liza Diana Manzil, and here I want to explain to you part 4, understanding the constraints. In order to understand a constraint fully, it is usually necessary to examine the nature of the constraint in the environment you are working in, and to examine previous research on the constraint. For example, the constraint of class size. If this constraint is considered to be important for the particular course being designed, it is useful to know exactly how large the classes are. Do they contain 40 students or 140 students? It is possible to change class sizes. There has been considerable research on the examination of teaching large classes. This research has looked at the relative merits of group work and teacher-centered activities, the effect of class size on learning, and individualization. Good curriculum design must take account of research and theory so that it provides the best possible condition for learning that the state of the art allows. And then the constraints of time. The time constraint is very important. The time may be severely limited, or the desired goals might not fit into the time available. The steps followed include 1. Examining the local environment. The second, looking at previous research. And the third, considering the effect of the constraint on the design of the course. For the first is examining the local environment. Is useful information to gather about the constraints is how much class time is available, how much time out of class could be given to learning, and what the goals of the course are. And then the second, looking at previous research. Is useful research information would reveal what could be achieved within certain time periods. For example, presents estimates of the time taken to reach various levels of proficiency for learners of particular languages. And the third is considering the effect of the constraint on the design of the course. An environmental constraint can be approached in two ways: working within the constraint and overcoming the constraint. And then part 6 is steps in environment analysis. Steps in environment analysis. The steps in environment analysis can be as follows. The first, brainstorm and then systematically consider the range of environment factors that will affect the course. The second, choose the most important factors, no more than 5, and rank them putting the most important first. The third, decide what information you need to fully take account of the factor. The information can come from investigation of the environment and from research and theory. The fourth, consider the effect of each factor on the design of the course. And the last, go through step 1, 2, 3, and 4 again. Environment analysis involves looking at the local and wider situation to make sure that the course will fit and will meet local requirements. There is considerable research data on many of important environment factors, include class size, motivation, learners of mixed proficiency, and special purpose goals. And the last for me and my friends Lailatus Sa'diyah. Thank you very much and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.